Good morning. Welcome to Assembly Budget Subcommittee number 2 on Education Finance. Will you please take the roll?
Mr. McCarty?
Here.
Chavez?
Here.
Irwin? Kim? O'Donnell?
Here.
Okay, good morning. Today's agenda will cover a number of topics in the K-12 world, including the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. We'll have a discussion on the California teacher shortage and an update on the newly adopted standards and assessments system for California, as well as the governor's proposed budget for the K-12 high-speed network. In addition, we didn't hear last week the Prop 39 energy efficient budget, so we will go over that. In addition, we will have one other action item on the governor's finance April letters. And with that, let's begin. Issue number 1.
So it's just a vote only. So
Correct. Okay, issue number 1. Committee members, we're going to have a vote only on the Department of Finance technical finance letters, essentially adjustments related to federal funds and so forth.
Are we going to separate item 1 from the other items? Or do we have a separate vote?
If you'd like to.
Yes, please.
Okay, so you want to move everything but item 1.
That's correct.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Mr. O'Donnell seconds. All in favor, please say aye.
McCarty?
Aye.
Chavez?
No.
No.
Oh, everything else? Yes.
McCarty? Chavez?
Yeah. Yes.
Irwin? Kim? O'Donnell?
Okay. And Mr. O'Donnell, would you like to make a motion on the issue number 1?
On what?
The finance letter issue 1. Mr. Chavez wanted to separate that one.
Okay. Where is that in here?
It's on page 2.
Issue number 1, I'm sorry?
Yeah, issue 1, issue 1.
Speaking to the enhanced assessment grant?
Correct.
I'll move it.
Second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. The chair can say it.
He moved it, he seconded it, and I'm going to say no.
McCarty?
Aye.
Chavez?
No.
Irwin? Kim? O'Donnell?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next issue, Prop 39 energy efficiency projects.
Good morning, Cheryl A. Deb with the Department of Finance. Proposition 39 was passed in 2012, which changed the tax corporate structure, which allowed about half of all additional revenue changed from the amendment to go to K through 12 and community college energy efficiency projects, with the intent to expand more energy efficiency to public buildings and also to schools and freeing up general fund with the energy savings moving forward. So the governor's budget has about $419 million for Proposition 39 funding, which will predominantly go to K through 12 and community colleges. There's about $366 million for K through 12, $45 million for community colleges, $3 million for the Workforce Investment Board, and about $5 million for the Conservation Corps. This brings the four-year total to about $1.5 billion.
Okay. Department of Education.
Good morning, Deborah Brown on behalf of State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tom Torlakson. So with the Prop 39 funds, most of the work is done by the Energy Commission, so I'll defer most of the comments to the work that they do in terms of collecting the plans, working with districts, supporting districts, and then ultimately approving the plans. So we know that approximately just shy of $492 million in planning and apportionments of the total of $973 million of funds have been distributed to local agencies. The reason some of that hasn't been distributed is that many agencies haven't submitted plans, and so some maybe just haven't submitted plans. Others may be trying to accumulate the dollars so that they have fundable plans. And all LEA LEAs on the list are eligible for funding are paid with an energy expenditure plan as submitted and approved by the Energy Commission. And the funds are appropriated on a first-in, first-out basis. For example, once all of the 2013-14 funds are appropriated, then the 2014-15 funds will be used. And then LEAs have 5 years to request the funds and have until June 30th, 2018 to encumber them. Thank you.
Okay. The Energy Commission?
Chair, members, Drew Bowen, Chief Deputy Director of the California Energy Commission. Thank you for the opportunity to address you this morning. I got asked to keep this very brief, so I thought I would just walk you through the way it works for a school and how they go about getting funding, and then bring you up to date on some of the numbers of where we are. So, energy projects are complicated. We've got 2,000 plus LEAs in California, as you know, just under 1,000 public school districts and over 1,000 charter schools. There are small single-room schools in the middle of the countryside, and there are very large schools in the middle of very urban areas, very different needs. And we are pleased that many of them, about three-quarters, asked for planning funds. And we granted $154 million in planning funds. And like you wouldn't build a house without a blueprint, we think it makes sense to figure out exactly what you want to do in your facility before you spend money doing it. So subsequent to that, we've received many applications for funding. And what an LEA needs to do is to first identify what projects they want to do, and that takes some time. And to date, one of your questions in the agenda was what projects have been the most energy efficient. About 90% of all projects have been either lighting or lighting controls or HVAC systems and HVAC controls. So those have dominated what we've seen done to date. The one requirement that the legislature imposed that has caused some difficulty for schools is that these projects be cost efficient. So we created a standard that requires that if you were to put in, say, a $100,000 heating and air conditioning system, you would need to show that over the life of that system, it would pay back $100,000, the cost of the system, plus 5% more, $105,000. So schools have done that. We've gotten many applications in, and we think the program's working quite well. Let me just bring you really quickly up to date on the numbers of where we are. So we've received 1,000 plan applications. We have approved about 85% of those plans to date, and they take about 30 days. It's an iterative process where they apply, and they're rarely perfect, and we do a back and forth and help the schools work through the issues and make sure that their plans do what they need to. And then in terms of numbers, as you heard, about $1 billion has been appropriated to date, $973 million. Of that, we have adopted or approved plans for $640 million, so about 2/3 of that money. We've also approved another $120 million in out years, in years 4 and 5. The schools don't get those funds dispersed to them yet, but we have approved their plans for those funds. And with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Okay. We're going to hear next from our community colleges.
Yeah, Chair and members, Mario Rodriguez with the California Community Colleges. For about the past decade, we've developed a partnership with the utility companies in California, which first started out with providing a way for our colleges to access better rebates and better incentives from the utilities, as we were just previously doing energy efficiency projects. So when Prop 39 came, we were able to hit the ground running. So since Prop 39, the first 3 years of the program, we received about over $120 million. That's led to about 659 projects. In terms of annual savings, that's resulted in $12.4 million in annual savings for our colleges, over 65 kilowatts in annual savings, and 1.4 therms in annual savings. So because of this partnership and because of the work we've already been able to do, we anticipate current year money and then any future year monies dedicated to this program to be as successful as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're going to hold this issue open until the revise to see final numbers, but I just have just a question. Well, first of all, I'm very supportive of this. I know our schools are cash-strapped and high energy bills, and so this seems like a no-brainer. If my recollection is that Prop 39 for the first 4 years, or I think 4 or 5 years, it goes to half general fund, half this, and then after, is it 4 years? It goes all to the general fund? Or 4 years or 5 years? 5.
Cheryl Ledet, Department of Finance. It's for the first 5 years.
And this would be our 4th year?
This is, yeah. budget year would be our fourth year.
Yeah, so after the fifth year, so but 2 more budgets, would it all go to the general fund, or would it go to Prop 98, or just a typical general fund and have the split accordingly?
I think it's a policy discussion that we'd have later on if the legislature and the administration decides that they want to, what they want to do with the
But
funding.
Prop 39, what did it say? Did it say the money goes
It's
to the
sunset. Yeah, it's sunset. So the funding after 2018 would then all go to the general fund
Yeah.
unless we decide to make
The
a
tax isn't
policy.
sunset, the expenditure sunset.
Right.
So the tax would all go to the general fund.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All righty. Any other questions on this? Mr. Chavez.
Thank you. I noticed in your chart you had self-generation. There were 2 projects. What type were they? From Energy Guy or community college or community colleges? What is self-generation?
This is Carlos Montoya with the Chancellor's Office. Those are photovoltaics.
Self-generation or photovoltaics?
Yes,
Okay, solar.
solar.
What is from your perspective, what is the greatest return on the investment? Is it self-generation or is it lighting and controls, or what's the greatest return on the investment?
The initial greatest return is on lighting. Before you want to create any self-generation, what you want to do is you want to reduce your overall demand first, so that when you do decide to put in place solar or any other self-generation systems, you're not overcompensating and building more than what you need. So the first energy efficient aspect of this is to put in lighting, which seems to be very efficient, then HVAC and controls as well. Those are also our top 3 types of projects, all to reduce the demand of energy.
Do you hold that to be true, efficiency first?
Absolutely.
So you're saying then we have the right priorities here as far as expending these funds within the community colleges and the K through 12?
Well, we've designed it to provide flexibility because it really does depend. There are some schools that have done energy efficiency for years, and they look at their facility and they say there's not much more we can invest in that's still cost effective because we already did the stuff that is. So in those instances, self-generation might make more sense.
Okay, now let me, last question. From your perspective, since you're looking at all the projects coming in, is there a regional, is there an even distribution across the state, or is it more regionalized?
In terms of the way the funding's distributed or the types of projects?
Distributed.
You know, it's by formula, so it's supposed to be spread out equally throughout the whole state. In terms of exactly what's come in to date, like I said in my presentation, we've had 1,002 applications have come in out of the 2,136 LEAs. So there's still a number of them that haven't applied, and we're doing a lot of outreach to try to reach those folks. And we're just teasing out the numbers that answer the question you're asking, which is, well, which of those school districts to date haven't yet applied, and what are they, large or small? Are they in the urban centers? Are they out in the rural areas? And we're teasing those numbers out right now, but it appears to be relatively spread out.
Well, when you get those numbers, I'd really appreciate them, because
You bet.
my sensing is that if you're a larger school district, you probably have the staff to apply for this, but if you're a smaller school district, then you probably don't have the staff to apply for this. And so
I think in some cases that's true. We do provide, we have another program I won't go into detail with, but it's called the Bright Schools program, and it provides no-cost audits up to $20,000 per audit, where we'll send professionals we've retained in to your facility at a school and help you identify what projects you might try to do. So for those that are cash-strapped or lack an individual who knows this on staff, they can avail themselves of that service. And again, an additional $154 million was provided to schools who asked for it to do additional audits. Because if you're a large facility, $20,000 might not be enough to do a proper audit to identify projects.
So if you're a little school district, let's say in Bishop or Lone Pine or Reading, then you send people out there to
Absolutely.
advise them?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when you get those numbers teased out, I'd really appreciate it.
You
Thank
bet.
Thank you, Mr. O'Donnell.
Yeah, perhaps you could give us a couple of examples of what the grants might pay for.
I mean, a lot of this is common sense, good business, and I think a lot of school districts are doing it without a grant. I mean, this is like good government. You put timers on the lights. You time your HVAC systems so that they're only operational from, say, 7:30 to 3:15, typically the hours school is in session. I mean, I don't think school districts need a grant to do that. That's just, that saves them money in the out years when they implement operational changes like that. Could you give us some examples of what the grants are paying for?
Yeah, if you look at in the agenda, there's a chart that shows numbers we've generated for at least the K through 12 program. And as you heard from the community colleges, the numbers are different but fairly similar with them as well. Nearly half of all projects done to date have been for lighting. 47%. Another 11% is for lighting controls. And then you look at the very next two on there, 17% for HVAC, so that's heating and air conditioning, and then controls associated with heating and air conditioning as well. Add that up and you get almost 9 out of 10 projects are for one of those 4 categories of items.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Again, we'll hold this issue open. Next item, California Commission on Teacher Credentialing. Yes. So we're going to lift the call on those 2 action items. So we split the into two motions. So one was the entire finance letter package except for that first issue, which Mr. Chavez voted no on.
Irwin? Kim?
Okay. And next is just the issue item, finance issue item number 1 of section number 1.
Irwin? Aye. Kim? No. Kim, no.
Okay. Both those items pass. Okay. All right, please proceed.
Good morning. Kimberly Leahy with the Department of Finance. I'm going to do just a very brief overview of the governor's budget for the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. The governor's budget includes $22,282,000 in teacher credential funds, $4,460,000 in test development administration account funds, $2,533,000 in general fund, and $308,000 in reimbursements, for a total operating budget of $29,583,000. The governor's budget also includes 150.9 total authorized positions. However, if you look at the governor's budget display, you will notice that there are 139.6 positions displayed. This number reflects budget transparency and historical trends indicating actual filled positions. Changes to the ongoing operational budget of the Commission include only minor adjustments for salary increases and other inflationary pressures, excuse me, and a decrease in one-time general fund provided for special projects. The general fund expenditure authority includes $1,533,000 for continued work on strengthening and streamlining the accreditation system, and $1 million general fund expenditure authority for continued development of an administrator performance assessment and updating of the teacher performance assessment. That concludes my overview of the budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members. I apologize for speaking to you behind me. I'm Mary Sandy. I'm the Executive Director here at the Commission on Teacher Credentialing. And after several years of decline, the Commission's revenues have seen significant improvement in the last 2 years. In 14-15, we saw a 4% increase over the prior year. We're on track to see about a 2% increase this year, and our expenditures are all within our budget. We had the one-time general funding for this year and for next to support the development of a data dashboard system to support our accreditation work and to develop new performance assessments for teachers and administrators, and both of these projects are on time and within budget. In the area of credentialing and certification, we processed 236,000 documents in 2014-15. 80% of those documents continue to be processed online. In the area of our accreditation work, we accredit 254 sponsors of educator preparation programs and engage in about 40 accreditation site visits per year. In the area of educator discipline, in 14-15, we opened 5,400 cases and took action on just under 1,000 of those. You may recall, prior to my arrival in 2011, the Commission underwent an audit, and significant findings were surfaced around the way the agency processed its discipline cases, and there was a backlog in discipline cases at that time. By September of 2012, all of the issues had been addressed. The auditor came to the Commission and congratulated the agency on its work. We are now processing a workload of between 2,200 and 2,600 cases per year, which is a normal workload, and all of the backlog has been eliminated. In the last 3 years, we have doubled the number of cases that we're processing each year. This has had an impact on the number of cases that go to the Attorney General for representation on appeal. There is a backlog that has been growing at the Attorney General's office. Resources within our budget this year are providing a source of funding to support bringing that workload down, that backlog down. It's our understanding that the Attorney General is in the hiring process and is ramping up, and that we should see improvement in those numbers within the next year and two. So this last year, we have been involved in a number of reform activities. We're overhauling our whole accreditation system. We've revised standards for preparation and for induction of new teachers. We're updating our teacher examinations to bring them into alignment with the Common Core standards and the Next Generation Science standards. We've been developing and implementing surveys of program graduates and employers to provide feedback on the quality of preparation. We're going to use those data in our revised accreditation system. We've reduced the scope of our standards for preparation so that they focus intently on what teachers and other educators need to know and be able to do. And this will allow our accreditation system to focus more intently on the outcomes of preparation rather than weighing all of the inputs quite as intensively as we have in the past. We've revised our induction requirements for new teachers. We've removed an emphasis on paperwork and a preset curriculum for new teachers coming into the profession, prioritizing instead individualized learning plans and work with a high-quality mentor based on the teacher's particular needs going forward. We are, as I've said, developing a data warehouse and a data dashboard system that will significantly improve public access to data about preparation, credentialing, and assignment of educators in our schools. And we're beginning our work to redesign the California Teaching Performance Assessment and building an Administrator Performance Assessment, both of which will be required for licensure in the future, and both of which will yield very rich data to support our work in examining quality and preparation. It's been a very busy time, but we're pleased to present this progress on all fronts. We support the governor's budget, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you. LAO?
We don't have any concerns with the governor's budget this year.
Okay. Just this section of the budget.
Just this section.
Yes. Okay. Any comments or questions on this item? I know the next issue we're going to have some discussion. Mr. O'Donnell.
Just with regard to the Commission's role, a couple of points from the September report that came out. I'll just highlight 2 or 3 of them. Number 2, focus induction primarily on high-quality mentoring with an emphasis on meeting the new teachers' immediate needs and supporting long-term teacher growth. So where does the Commission come in on that?
So the Commission's role is to set standards for and accredit the induction programs that teachers go through. And so the standards that we set would set expectations for the kind of mentoring, the training for mentor teachers, expectations around the assignment of a mentor to a new teacher, expectations, the new standards that we've just adopted in the last month actually speak to the development of individualized learning plans for new teachers that are focused on their particular needs, developed with their mentor, with their employer. So we set those standards and we accredit preparation programs, and there are about 150 programs of induction that we accredit that provide access to all of the new teachers coming into teaching in the state.
Great. So you essentially set a standard and ensure that the programs meet that standard with regard to supporting new teachers.
That is correct.
Okay, and that's in process, or you've just set the standards, you've rebooted them, or what?
We have rebooted the standards, and we've been in the process of revising our accreditation procedures. We've had probably our most significant changes have occurred in this area as we've moved from a categorically funded program where we had both accreditation and funding as levers to oversee quality in that system to local control funding where employers have discretion over the use of those funds. So we are no longer leveraging funding, but we are leveraging our accreditation system to ensure that accreditation programs are providing the support that new teachers need.
Not today, but I'd like to know more about that.
Sure.
Then number 4, streamline the Commission's accreditation system to eliminate unnecessary and time-consuming documentation activities, et cetera. What have you done in that area?
Well, this is very exciting. When I first arrived in 2011, I asked for a portfolio of all the things we looked at in accreditation, and it included a 1,000-page program document for one institution offering one program. So we've eliminated 1,000 pages for every program. They don't need to document to that level of detail for us anymore. We've changed the accreditation requirements so that we are asking for much briefer descriptions of what an institution is doing, what their coursework looks like, and how it is addressing development of the workforce. And we're relying on outcomes. We're using the performance assessment data that we receive, or will be as we develop these systems, to shed light on quality and preparation. We're using results of surveys to shed light on quality of preparation and reducing documentation significantly so that it's a more manageable evaluation load for our reviewers and we believe we'll get a higher yield of information that's of higher quality as we move the system forward.
Great. And then number 7, ensure that new teachers receive appropriate support and mentoring in their first years of teaching, regardless of the type of contract, be it temporary or probationary. That somewhat mirrors number 2, but have you made changes on that front?
We are still, I would say, working on that. It is the Commission's expectation that every teacher who receives a credential has access to mentoring in their first 2 years on the job. But they have 5 years to complete that requirement, and there may be variation in the way that's
clear the credential?
To clear their credential. So we're still looking at how many teachers are getting that support within the first 2 years. We're using our survey efforts to try and gauge that. And to the extent that continues to be a problem where teachers aren't getting access to it in their first 2 years, we'll work on whether regulation changes or other sets of requirements could be put in play to assist LEAs in providing that needed support during their early years.
It's a no-brainer to me that would be provided. As a new teacher, I can remember needing help and getting it. Sometimes, not always, but we really need to work on that because everybody's talking about a teacher shortage. Well, what about the ones we have? We need to support the ones we have too. And then just one last question, I guess, is you said there were 130 teacher preparation programs out there?
So we have,
the state of California?
we are accrediting 254 entities that provide preparation. 150 of those are induction programs that are sponsored out of county offices or consortia of districts or single districts that offer their own induction programs. So the other 100 or so are IHE, college and university-based programs, and LEA-based intern programs that provide preliminary practice.
Right. And what are you guys doing to monitor the quality of those programs or maybe the long-term success or outcomes of their students.
So the accreditation system is designed to do that. We have a 7-year cycle. We do site visits. We do annual data collection. We are looking at what kinds of indicators give us immediate feedback about a program that might be in trouble and not addressing and meeting the standards that we expect them to meet in terms of candidate outcomes. We have a new standard that we've just adopted for all institutions where we're asking them to provide feedback to the Commission on the impact that their candidates are having. We're early in our investigation of methods of determining impact, but it's an exciting new phase of this work to actually look at how we can best capture and how programs can best capture the impact that their graduates are having in terms of student learning.
Is there any data available, or maybe you'll be moving forward, you'll go into this arena where you'd look at a variety of programs and different programs and assess how long their candidates do stay in the profession?
Absolutely. The dashboard work that we're doing, in fact, I'll be able to showcase some of that in our next panel discussion, but the data that we're collecting will begin, we're just beginning annual data collection of particular types with every institution we accredit, where we can gauge the numbers of candidates that are enrolled in programs, how many are full-time, how many are part-time, how many are completing, how many are getting credentialed. We're working on memoranda of understanding with the Department of Education so we can better get a sense of who of those we credentialed actually went into employment, tracking that over time. So we're on the edge of being able to very systematically do labor market analysis of at least of these kinds of indicators. Will help us understand kind of what are the different factors and program structures that seem to have the best impact on in terms of getting the workforce we need and keeping them.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll go now to the next item. Okay, first of all, we'll go back to issue number 2 on the overall budget. We want to approve as budgeted the proposal for CTC. Do I have a motion for this item?
Moved.
Okay, motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. McCarty?
Aye.
Chavez? Aye. Irwin? Aye. Kim? Aye. O'Donnell?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Now issue number 3, California teacher shortage. All righty.